Respected President of this function, Shri Gopinath Ji, most respected J. Nandakumar Ji, the person who is going to give the keynote address, seniors and juniors and my dear friends. At the outset, let me thank the organizers for inviting me to this evening function. My job, as I understand, is not very hard. Introducing the subject, and there is a giant followed by me, Nandakumar Ji, who will be presenting the keynote address on the topic Drawing the Line, Freedom of Expression and the Paradox of Freedom of Expression. I was looking at the brief info about the keynote speaker. He is a very well-known RSS leader, intellectual, think tank, author, columnist, public speaker, cultural nationalist, a philosopher, and above all, he is a great human being. Now my job, introducing the topic, freedom of expression and paradox of the freedom of expression. Basically, I am an agricultural scientist. My knowledge with the constitution and other thing is just like an ordinary reader, but still I try to understand a bit of constitution for this purpose. Then I thought first we should record our appreciation and respect to the great man Sri Ambedkar, whose birthday was on 14th. Let us remember him and let us pay respect to him. Why Ambedkar Ji? The word freedom of expression came from the first critical words of our constitution. The first one starting with J, the justice. We all know many times we read about social justice, economic justice, political justice. The second key word he has put over there is liberty. Yes, freedom of expression comes under that. The freedom of thought, freedom of expression, freedom of faith, and freedom of worship. We have to confine to number 2, but for the memory purpose, let me speak out the other 2 terms important: the equality, equality of status and equality of opportunities, and fraternity, ensuring dignity, unity, and national integrity. Now let us come to the serial number 2, liberty, expression. If you analyze the word expression, you have an idea. I am expressing something. I have an idea. I have a channel. I have a content. I have a target. I am going to pass that idea through this channel to the targeted audience. That's what I remember about communication in my extension class. The person develop an idea, accordingly create a content. He use a channel, either oral or verbal or written or television or picture, and shoot across the audience with a purpose. The purpose is very important. Is it just a message, or it has some toxic effect or agitating effect or hate effect or developmental effect? So the purpose or the person, the idea of the person and his purpose is very important. Right to freedom, full freedom of expression. Ambedkarji has given adequate freedom, abundance of freedom. You and I have the freedom. We are fortunate to talk any nonsense today as we see across, but it is not true. There are restrictions for the freedom. Your thoughts also, there should be freedom of thoughts, but restrictions. Expression also, and the act of conveying the thoughts. Now in India, as you know, we have 145 crores of people, of which at least 50-60% will be communicating, even 90%, including children, will be communicating. I just analyzed the number of people actively communicating. If I am taking more time, the president can stop me. The number of registered newspapers, 1 lakh, they are also communicating their views. Then TV channels, 900. Malayalam TV channels, 40. YouTubers, 45 crore. WhatsApp, 50 crore. Facebook, 33 crores. Insta, 28 crores. And X, around 3. This shows the grand number of Indian sources of communication. Regularly, you can imagine, you cannot even you cannot see all the WhatsApp, all the FB messages, all the YouTube messages, all the Insta messages. This is an era of information explosion. You are unable to manage. Now the challenge for everybody today is the management of the information, how to use it. After some time you will be getting, fed up, you will be getting pain. You cannot read all, you cannot retain all. The good message, bad message, fake message, distorted message, hate message. That is about the freedom I mentioned. What is this? Paradox of the freedom of expression. I started analyzing. I had a bit of confusion. Now, as you know, even we senior people adequately use the ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and so on. I took the help of ChatGPT to know what exactly, because when I speak something, I should have some clarity. Paradox of freedom of expression. I went to ChatGPT and repeated with DeepSeek. In all the 2 places, it is clearly mentioned that over freedom when you use, unrestricted freedom you use, it will end up with the loss of freedom. Loss of freedom to the other side. If I am going on abusing you, irritating you, the other side will be upset. So the loss of freedom happens on the other side. So the paradox of freedom happens because of the overuse of unlimited freedom in communication and causing a status of loss of freedom, particularly on other side. The expression versus aggression. When you express something, it can be an info, but if it is in the form of an aggressive news, a hate news, that will have an injury on the mind of the people on the other side. Now, when you speak, we should ensure that there is a balance in the communication. In the sense, I am not expected to go beyond a line, beyond a boundary. The president was talking about the boundary, the silver line. I should not go on talking or making hate speeches that will affect the other person. So what is that line? That is an imaginary line. That is an ethical line. That is a balance between normal communication and hate communication, wherein you are not inflicting an injury to the other side. In other words, it is clearly mentioned that when I swing my fist like this, the boundary is your nose. That is a simple way of expression. I can swing it. I am free to swing anyway. But remember that people are around. They have freedom like you, but your swinging should not go beyond the nose of the other side. Now the theory of destroying freedom, the paradox of freedom, that was explained by Karl Popper. He also explained about the unlimited tolerance leading to disappearance of tolerance itself. So what is important? Anybody when communicating through any form should be doubly sure of the injury, of the amount of toxicity, or the amount of hateness, or the content whether it is true or false, misinformation, or extremist sort of thoughts, or deep fake sort of videos. The other day, frequently, I was seeing videos wherein the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman was promoting an investment. I don't know how many of you have seen. If you invest 21,000 rupees, you will get multiple amount, so many amount. I saw it from very many great people, including the Reserve Bank. Then I was thinking, I would mind putting 20 on each for 5 people in the name of 5 children. If you want to give zakat, you put 21 each to 5 deserving people. Every month you will be getting huge amount. I started inquiring about it. Then I realized, I think that is sure, I realized that it is a deep fake, a AI evolved false propaganda. Now even recently, when I was listening to the verdict from the Supreme Court on restriction of freedom, or putting or laying boundaries for the president and the governors, I was thinking, I don't know, was it not again a crossing of boundary of balancing, undoingly encroaching the boundaries? Even regarding Waqf bill, different people come out with a different type of opinions. Sometimes it may be due to, the difference may be due to ignorance in the land rules or the Waqf rules or the legality, but still we are observing different types of distorted information. Then the instance related to Empuran. Then the hate speech committed by one district president at Kannur leading to the suicide of a deputy collector. N number of social media fake newses. And again, my own experience as a vice chancellor at the University of Calicut, I remember my 4-year term, how bitter it was every day. every news channel, every social media, all the time talking abusive language for no fault of mine. Even my decision of my own personal decision of joining a political party, if you look at my Facebook, so horrible. Finally, I have abandoned that Facebook account. Now, I was also watching the communication, not only on the streets, not only on the media, in the parliament, in the assembly, in all these places, educated, highly responsible people are acting or talking in a most irresponsible way. We talk high about our constitution. Today I again asked a question to ChatGPT. Can you just tell me the rating of Indian constitution among the major democracies of the world? I don't know whether the answer is correct. It says without clarity, top is India. Top acceptance and rating with a 9.5 out of 10. So one such great thing we all talk is the freedom of the citizens. Then based on my experience, I made a comparison between my own nation and another nation which I frequently visit and I love to live. That is Dubai, United Arab Emirates. It's an autocracy with a limited freedom. My own nation, it's a democracy with unlimited freedom. I was doing research over here, desktop research. Why? An autocracy is preferred by large number of people to stay comfortably. People are ready to leave India and go to UAE or Dubai and live over there from a democracy to an autocracy. Why? It is clearly brought out. More than your wish to be more free in expression, there are other matters. Your safety, security, healthcare, quality of life, robust economy, your assured progress, and available or the best quality of life is available in that environment which is lacking here. But we have the freedom of expression. I remember the mullahs here in our mosque, when they go before the prayer, there is a speech. In most of the mosques, the people talk abusive language about the party at the center. But if you go to Dubai, if the mullah wants to make a speech in the mosque, he has to get an approval from the authority stating that these are only the allowed statements in the mosque. So why not we curb such things? All the time in religious institutions, continuously talking about the ruling front and the ruling party, ruling leader. And I have one more point as an introductory part. Now, how to manage this situation? In that context, what are the duties of the pillars? The pillars of democracy. You consider the judiciary first. Do you think that the judiciary in this great democracy is doing good? If they are doing good, there will not be 5 crores of pending cases over decades. I would request our Let's Talk group to initiate a discussion. What happened to this judiciary? Why they fail in doing their duty? If they are doing their duty, definitely there should not be so much of accumulated 5 crores of cases in the Indian courts from Delhi to down. That means that my point is judiciary is failing. That is why, these sort of cases when comes, they are unable to take care of, to correct it. Legislature, we know the parliament and the this assemblies, what they are doing there, they are not doing their jobs. Then executive, we know the lack of transparency and the party-centric activities of the executive, where again they fail to correct the difficulties of the common man due to hate speech. And finally the press. The press. Very often, when the debate session comes, we will run away from there. We seldom listen to the news. We know most of the news are interest-centric or paid or fake or fabricated or their own party-centric news. We are all fed up with all those things. So press also needs reforms and revision. And finally, solution, yes. In the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, there are provisions, legal provisions for addressing the challenges faced by the hate. So I conclude by saying this one line, that is, when you swing your fist, remember the nose of the neighboring person is the limit. Thank you very much.
Branding partner, EduBix, online executive education. Focus, Physiotherapy Center, Pattam. Unnat Engineering, Gujarat. Tirthayatra.com. Iron Build, Gujarat. PRS Hospital, കിള്ളിപ്പാലം, തിരുവനന്തപുരം. 5 തലമുറകളായി നിങ്ങൾക്കൊപ്പം. തുമ്പമൺ ശ്രീ വടക്കുംനാഥൻ ക്ഷേത്രം, അമ്പലക്കടവ്, പത്തനംതിട്ട. ശ്രീമദ് സ്കന്ദപുരാണ മഹാസത്രം 2025 മെയ് 11 മുതൽ 18 വരെ. ബ്രഹ്മശ്രീ മുംബൈ ചന്ദ്രശേഖര ശർമ്മയുടെ മുഖ്യ കാർമ്മികത്വത്തിൽ മഹാഗണപതി ഹോമം, സ്കന്ദപുരാണ പാരായണം, മഹത് പ്രഭാഷണങ്ങൾ, പൂജഹോമാദികൾ, കലാസാംസ്കാരിക പരിപാടികൾ. സത്രയജ്ഞ കർമ്മങ്ങളിലേക്ക് എല്ലാ ഭക്തജനങ്ങളുടെയും സാന്നിധ്യവും സഹകരണവും സാദരം അഭ്യർത്ഥിക്കുന്നു. മഹാസത്രവേദിയിൽ മെയ് 18 പഴനി അരുൾമിക ദണ്ഡായുധപാണി സ്വാമി ദേവസ്ഥാന അർച്ചക സ്ഥാനികർ ശ്രീസെൽവ സുബ്രഹ്മണ്യ ശിവശാരിയാരുടെ മുഖ്യ കാർമ്മികത്വത്തിൽ നടക്കുന്ന അതിശ്രേഷ്ഠവും സർവൈശ്വര്യദായകവുമായ സ്കന്ദഹോമം. സ്കന്ദമഹാപുരാണ സത്രത്തിന്റെ ആദിമധ്യാന്തമുള്ള സമ്പൂർണ്ണ തത്സമയ കാഴ്ച തത്വമയി നെറ്റ്വർക്കിൽ.